Yeah, you can be the greatest, you can be the best, you can be the King Kong banging on your chest. You can beat the world, you can beat the war. You can stop the guy go banging on his door. You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock. You can move a mountain, you can break rocks. You can be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you can find yourself standing in the Hall of Fame. And the world can know your name. 'Cause you burn with the brightest flame. And the world can know your name. And you'll be on the walls of the Hall of Fame. You feel the distance, you can run a mile. You can walk straight through hell with a smile. You could be the hero, you get the gold. You know the records up but never could be broke. Do it for your people, do it for your pride. Never gonna know what you never even try. Do it for your country, do it for your name. 'Cause it's gonna be a day when you're standing in the Hall of Fame. And the world gonna know your name.
That song is almost perfect. People like Martin Luther King, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Rosa Parks have stood throughout history in the halls of fame. People just like you who saw an issue and took umbrage with it and took action because of it would ultimately change the course of human events. All it takes is one person to stand up and speak out. For far too long, you have seen in the news the travesties committed against other humans, other people, the mass shootings, the terror attacks, and they happen again and again in what we call a civilized world. Aren't you just a little bit curious why it hasn't stopped yet? Why it continues to happen? Why people continue to die senselessly in our world that is so civilized and advanced? Perhaps this answer is simpler than you might think. The leaders of this world are either incredibly stupid or are doing it on purpose. The perfect example that can be seen of this is that every single mass shooting in America has occurred in what is called a gun-free zone. They have occurred where people are not allowed to defend themselves. Zones like Buell Park and Hermitage. in the schools across the country, where teachers are not allowed to carry to protect their students. In Allegheny, there was such a shooting that was trumped by the students and the teachers in the distant history, but they don't speak of this. The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. It is simple logic. Anybody to deny this would deny logic itself in history in its entirety. For far too long, people have remained silent to this fact. Many more examples can be found.
Go back home!
You go back home. Ignorance speaks to itself. Logic is truth. The Constitution of the United States says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There is no subparagraph A, B, or C to constitute whether it is an acceptable infringement. Thus, no infringement is acceptable. Guns don't kill people, people kill people. Blaming the gun for the act is no more logical than blaming McDonald's for obesity. It is idiocracy. It is stupidity. Humanity has far more going for it than that. We are far smarter than that, to be deceived and lied to. These tragedies that continue to happen are a direct result of ignorance. 225 years ago, in the Continental Congress of the United States, the founders got together to form a more perfect union and write the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights, declaring themselves sovereign against the King of England. They did that because the king was usurping their rights, was demanding that he was arbiter of their fate, and they would not accept it. The colonists, the American colonists, fought the British. A more superior military strength. They had the numbers, the technology, the finance. Many of the colonists spoke out against the plan, saying it was foolhardy to fight the British, that you never defeat the British. Truth is, we won that war. We defeated the British, and 225 years later, here we are again, with the same atrocities being committed, the same stupidity in leadership. We talk about the elections in 2016 as if it will make a difference. The President of the United States does not care, nor does the politicians. They're in a group unto themselves. Their only goal is subservience of the people. Ask yourself, why? Why do you not feel safe when you see red, white, and blue flashing behind you? The police officers should make you feel safe and secure. But is that what you feel in America today? Do you feel secure when you know that nobody's allowed to carry a gun in your post office or your courtroom or in the stadiums and colleges? Does this make you feel safe? Does this make you feel safe?
I feel like a piece of shit in this town, bro.
In towns across America, it is the same. We have what's called soft tyranny. For 225 years, the law has been perverted to fit a political narrative, that they have the answers to our questions, that they can protect us and take our responsibility from us, and in doing so, provide a better social structure. But the best social structure comes from the Constitution. Equal rights under the law, independent of your religion or your color or your income bracket. The Constitution, which bans gun law, drug law, and even the vehicle code, and usurps the very laws we pretend protect us. Article 1, Section 9 states that there are no bills of attainder allowed in America or ex post facto law. What does that mean? In Black's Law Dictionary 5th edition, a bill of attainder is defined as a ticket. Turning a criminal act into a monetary punishment allows for something called a debtor's prison. In other words, if you don't pay the money to the state, they throw you in jail. Well, if the crime was not serious enough to throw you in jail in the first place, then why throw you in jail at all? We call this the freest country in the world. But 1/4 of the entire world's population is in all prisons. How is that the freest country in the world? Answer, it is not. How many soldiers must fight in our foreign wars before we realize that the problem is here at home with our leaders, our politicians? Before we realize that our children's future, our loved ones' future, is more important than safety and security. As Thomas Jefferson, one of the founders, stated, those who would desire safety and security over liberty and freedom will deserve nor get either.
Hey, real quick, are you part of that anonymous group?
Nope, I'm just wearing the masks to get me started.
Started for what?
Just to get people to pay attention. First it was because I was a little nervous, but now I'm pissed.
Dude, I've been paying attention to all of this shit. The fact is, even if we came together, all we're gonna do is piss them off even more.
The perfect example.
Listen, and then they're gonna put us all in fucking FEMA caps and martial law.
The greatest thing that people forget when they hear of this argument that we are powerless, we forget that history has shown that there are barely, maybe 3,000 people in the world with the power to come against us. There are 6.7 billion other people on this planet in the world. That is far more than any army of the combined nations of the earth. In order to defeat American public, the American government would need to employ the use of Russia, China, North Korea, Australia, Switzerland, and Israel just to have a chance in hell of defeating the American people. Because they could take the coasts, but they could never take the homeland because, as the Chinese said when debating whether or not to invade America, there will be a rifle behind every blade of grass. We still have guns. In fact, we have 271 million guns to the combined 7 million of the U.S. military forces, Secret Service, and police departments combined.
You do know all we can do is get pissed. There's not shit we can do about it.
And speak out, knowing the greatest thing is the Constitution.
But there's nothing we can do about it. They don't give a shit.
Feed somebody.
All right, cool. I can feed myself, yo.
The truth is, we can do something. Speaking out is the first step. The second step is learning your constitutional rights.
And what's that gonna do?
When you go to court and you use the Constitution as it was meant to be used, you can reclaim your rights and fight their law and their courts and win.
But look at all the people that did try doing that shit.
And won.
They got put in the dirt, bro.
But there are people that have won. Giving up is the surest way to defeat. I mean, if you give up...
Maybe we just want to lock our doors, close our windows, and believe what we want to believe so we can live in peace and not have to fight.
But that's not living. That's slavery. Die on your knees. Is that way to live?
At least we're happy.
Happy? What is happiness when you cannot live the life to your fullest?
I mean, like I told you already, I already know the whole situation. I know all the facts. But as far as I'm concerned, if I step out of my comfort zone, all I'm going to do is fuck myself over and work myself up. That's all it's going to be, dude, you know?
Well, why give up hope?
I'm not giving up hope, bro. That's life, homie, for real.
Haven't you seen people like Cliven Bundy who won? Cliven Bundy refused to pay the federal government grazing fees. Millions of dollars they claimed he owed because he was grazing on public land. Land he paid with his tax dollars. And so Cliven Bundy said no. Cliven Bundy built an army, a militia, and stood his ground at the Bundy Ranch. And guess what happened? the federal government backed down, and they have not gone after him. That example shows that there is still hope. That could have been the second shot heard around the world, the beginning of the second American Revolution. There are people that are so angry, so frustrated, that they won't even speak out against it. They just wait for that first shot to get involved. But then the violent revolution becomes the only revolution we can have, instead of a peaceful one. Is that what you want? Is that what you want for your friends, your family, the people you love and cherish?
To tell you the truth, man, this is the worst fucking state and town you came. Where are you from, man? Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Wheatland. And you're right. This is why I'm doing it here.
Wheatland,
Mercer County.
Mercer, fucking Farrell, Sharon, it all fucking sucks. I'm from Chicago. You figure Chicago would be worse, bro. I've never received such horrible fucking customer service in my life from all of these stores. Everyone in these towns are fucking crazy. They're fucking psychotic. All the mental people migrate here.
I feel you. I understand.
But listen, bro, I do gotta bounce. I work with the dude. My name's Bobby.
Nice to meet you.
Do your thing, bro.
I will. Thank you, Bobby. That is the greatest problem we face ourselves, is the fear. It wasn't guns that kept the Jews in Auschwitz, it was the fear. They had the numbers, but they feared the guards. So too do we fear our guards. When you go to the bank next time you cash your paycheck, ask your teller to explain the fractional reserve banking system, FDIC. How does the bank work? Truth is, there's no money in America. If every business owner and anybody with a large account holding in every bank in America withdrew their money right now, there would be nothing left in any ATM or any bank anywhere. Middle class America and below would be broke with nothing to show for what they earned. Because they took us off what's called the gold standard, where America's currency were coined in gold and silver. It is now based in debt solely, printed by the private Federal Reserve Bank, a private bank, and sold to the American government at interest. Our debt continues to increase, and you and me are set to pay the bill. Our taxes increase and increase, and our money is devalued day by day, and we are forced to work harder to earn less. And it will continue to get worse and worse. There are two choices, two very simple choices. Learn your Constitution, learn your rights, and exercise them in a timely manner. Everywhere you go, speak out against the travesties in our world, and understand and quest for knowledge. And never stop until the answers you seek are reached, and even then continue on. Because the second you give up, the second you stop fighting, is the second they win. A lot of people have heard a myth, a whisper on the wind, something so many people are terrified to utter, terrified to speak of. Heard in song, in the media, in Dan Brown's novel as the Bavarian Illuminati. A myth. But what is the truth behind the myth? The Bilderberg Group. The Bilderbergs. Over 300 people, including presidents, queens, kings, lawyers, multimedia moguls, the most powerful men and women in the world, gathering in a secret place once a year for the past over 15 years. They're called the Bilderbergs. With Google and smartphones, there is no reason to lie about this. You can pull out your smartphone and use Siri or Google to research it yourself and find out it is the truth. You can research Carl Miller, C-A-R-L-M-I-L-L-E-R. You can look up how the United States is the one state, the one nation out of the world that has yet to combat what is called genetically modified organisms, GMOs, genetically modified food, which produces its own pesticide, and the food we currently consume can barely be called food at all. Right across the street you see McDonald's. Recently they closed a store up in Mercer, Pennsylvania. They're not doing so well. Wonder why? Perhaps it's because they do not use farming techniques like our great-grandparents used, where the cattle was respected and taken care of. Now they use what they call sustainable farming, but it's not so sustainable so much as shoving hundreds of head of cattle into a very tight, cramped space. Sickly cattle that are fed hormones that beef them up, which then go into your food and are eaten by your kids. And disease run rampant in the world. Cancer, something that has touched the lives of so many. And yet, I myself know two separate individuals who suffered from cancer that cured it with a diet. One was in Burbank, California, the other in Hermitage, Pennsylvania. In Burbank, he was prescribed marijuana, given a salve, told that he can only eat raw organic food and avoid all meats and remove all pesticides and synthetic cleaning products from his home. After given 6 months to live because of the cancerous tumor in his leg, he went in for a doctor's appointment on that diet with a marijuana prescription 6 months later and was told the cancer was in remission. Dow Chemical, one of the big producers of chemotherapy, is also responsible for breast cancer awareness and those things they sell. Fighting for the cure would mean an end to profit. Fighting for the treatment means sustained revenue. The second lady, Hermitage, Pennsylvania, had breast cancer. Same situation without the pot. She cured her breast cancer with a diet. And she lives today after being given a death sentence by modern medicine. Example after example of how screwed up our world is can be found. But so too can many examples of how extraordinary and how amazing humanity truly is. There is still hope for mankind, because America is designed to be the last bastion of liberty and freedom, an example to the rest of the world, to show what they should be. In recent years, we have pointed to other countries and said their laws are better. Their laws should be adopted to our laws. There are places like Australia with better gun law. We should adopt that. Better education system, better social policy. But we do the opposite of finding freer countries and adopting their policy. We find less freer countries and adopt their policy in the name of social good or common